Say you're driving late at night on an empty road. The rain is pouring, your wipers barely keeping up. Suddenly, as you round a corner, headlights appear out of nowhere. A car is speeding directly toward you. There's no time to think, no time to react. The impact seems inevitable. But somehow, in the next moment, you're alive. The other car missed you by inches. Your heart is pounding, your hands trembling, but you're unharmed. You tell yourself it was luck, a close call. But what if it wasn't? What if, in another universe, the crash did happen, and the version of you in this reality simply shifted to a timeline where you survived? This is the chilling, mind-bending idea of quantum immortality. It's a theory that suggests you might already be immortal, not in the traditional sense, but in a way that's far stranger, more unsettling, and harder to grasp. Let's take a journey into this concept, explore what it means, and ask, what if every time you avoided death, it wasn't chance, but something far deeper, your consciousness moving between realities? To understand quantum immortality, we need to start with quantum mechanics, particularly the many worlds interpretation. This theory proposes that every decision, every event, creates a branching universe. Flip a coin, and two realities are born. One where it lands heads, and one where it lands tails. In the same way, every time you face a life or death situation, the universe splits. In one branch, you survive, in the other, you don't. But here's where it gets strange. According to quantum immortality, your consciousness can only exist in the timelines where you're alive. In every instance of near death, you continue in the version of reality where you live, while the others simply cease to matter from your perspective. Let's break this down with a real-world scenario. Imagine you're hiking on a narrow mountain trail. You lose your footing and start to fall toward a rocky ledge below. In one timeline, you regain your balance just in time. In another, you don't. Quantum immortality suggests that you'll only ever experience the version of events where you survive. From your perspective, it feels like a miraculous save. But in countless other universes, your story ends there, and your consciousness shifts to the version where you're still alive. Now here's the unsettling part. If quantum immortality is real, it means you've already died countless times without ever realizing it. Every car accident you narrowly avoided, every illness you recovered from, every near miss in your life might represent a moment where your awareness moved to a different timeline. It's a haunting thought. What if the life you're living right now is just one of an infinite number of versions, the only one where you've continued to survive? Let's explore the implications of this idea. First, it's important to understand that quantum immortality doesn't mean you're invincible. You can still feel pain, suffer injuries, and age. The version of you that continues living might not escape unscathed. For example, in a serious accident, you might survive, but with lasting consequences, broken bones, scars, or worse. From your perspective, you're still alive, but the cost of survival can vary widely depending on the timeline. This brings us to an important philosophical question. Is this kind of immortality a gift or a curse? On one hand, quantum immortality ensures that you never truly experience death. You'll always wake up in a reality where you've survived, no matter how unlikely the odds. On the other hand, this survival comes with consequences. While you continue living, the people around you don't. Everyone you know, friends, family, loved ones, follows their own timelines, subject to their own mortality. Over time, you might find yourself alone, the last thread in an endless web of branching realities. Now imagine the psychological toll of such an existence. At first, you might dismiss near-death experiences as luck, but as the pattern repeats again and again, you might begin to suspect that something deeper is happening. What would it feel like to realize you can't die? Not permanently? Would it make you reckless, taking risks without fear of consequences? Or would it leave you haunted by the knowledge that in countless other universes, versions of you have already perished? Let's push this idea further. If quantum immortality is real, what happens as you age? Imagine being 100 years old, your body frail, your health failing. In most timelines, this would be the end. But in one version, your heart keeps beating. In another, medical advancements keep you alive. Your consciousness would continue to move through these threads of survival, ensuring that you never experience the finality of death. But is that still life? Or does survival lose its meaning when it becomes endless? Now, let's address the science, or lack of it. Quantum immortality is a speculative idea rooted in the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Schrödinger's cat is often used to explain this concept. In the experiment, a cat in a box is both alive and dead, existing in a state of superposition until someone observes it. When the box is opened, the universe splits. In one, the cat is alive. In the other, it's dead. Quantum immortality takes this concept and applies it to consciousness, suggesting that you only experience the branches where you survive. However, most physicists consider this a thought experiment rather than a scientific theory. Consciousness remains one of the biggest mysteries in science, and there's no evidence to suggest it's tied to quantum processes. Even so, the idea of quantum immortality forces us to confront some profound existential questions. If death is never the end for you, does life still have meaning? If every risk you take ends in survival, does that diminish the value of your experiences? Or does it make them even more extraordinary, knowing that every moment is part of an infinite web of possibilities? Let's consider one more scenario. Imagine you're on your deathbed, your body weak, and your mind at peace. You close your eyes, expecting to slip away. But then, you wake up. Maybe the doctors found a last-minute cure. Maybe your condition unexpectedly improved. To you, it feels like a miracle. But if quantum immortality is real, this moment isn't random. It's inevitable. No matter how many times you face death, you'll always find yourself in the timeline where you survive. But for how long? Does quantum immortality guarantee eternal life? Not necessarily. While you may never experience death directly, your survival depends on the availability of timelines where you continue to exist. As your body ages and deteriorates, these possibilities might grow narrower and narrower. Eventually, the versions of reality where you survive could become so improbable that even quantum immortality can't save you. In that sense, immortality isn't infinite, it's just extraordinarily persistent. So, what can we take away from all of this? Whether or not quantum immortality is real, it forces us to think differently about life and death. It challenges us to appreciate the fragility and wonder of our existence. Every moment, every close call, every decision becomes part of a larger, unknowable web of possibilities. If nothing else, it's a reminder of how little we truly understand about the universe and how much there is still to discover. If quantum immortality is real, you've already survived countless near-death experiences without even knowing it. And if it's not, well, the fact that you're here, alive and aware, is extraordinary in itself. Either way, it makes you wonder, how many times have you already died? And how many more times will you survive?